Hey everyone, welcome to the Vincelli-Evans
Adventure.
We are here today to talk about kind of a sensitive subject, but it is why we are leaving Croatia. Our original plan was to spend 15 months in Split, Croatia, and in 2 weeks we had to plan the next year of our lives. So we're going to give you a little bit of background first and then tell you what happened with our travel plans.
Yeah, so essentially we did a ton of research to figure out, how to obtain the digital nomad visa, and we discovered that you could show up and be on a tourist visa for 90 days, apply for the digital nomad visa, which would allow you to stay for up to a year. So we were planning on living here for 15 months. So we waited about a month and a half, 2 months, and then we submitted all of our documents for the digital nomad visa, thinking that everything would be just fine, and it wasn't.
First, let's talk about what we had to go through with the documents.
So the main things that you need to obtain a digital nomad visa is you need to provide proof of income and that you have a job or enough money that you don't need a job, and that job can't be in the country of Croatia. So you have to be working for a company that isn't in Croatia, so you're not taking a job away from the country. Mm-hmm. You have to provide your marriage certificate, if you're
apostilled,
which has to be apostilled. You have to provide your background check. You have to provide
apostilled,
which has to be apostilled. And then you have to have a proof of address, which while you're applying can just be wherever you're staying. For us, it was our Airbnb. And
birth certificates.
Yeah, that about covers it.
But to be clear, apostilled means that you have to send in to get your FBI background check. And then once you get your FBI background check, you have to send that in again. So it goes through some sort of agency that puts a stamp on it that says this is actually an FBI background check. Same with the marriage certificate. So you have to pay money to get these things, and then you have to send them in and pay more money to get them certified as real documents.
And yeah, what an apostille is essentially that certification that allows you to use a government document in another country. So that's why all those things need to be apostilled.
And it's all very time sensitive. The apostille is only good for a certain amount of days after getting it. So you have to wait until a certain point to send it in to get apostille. Then you have to do it before a certain time so you get it back before you leave. So it's all very time sensitive. It took a lot of research. It took a lot of effort to make sure that we had all of our ducks in a row and had everything.
And all that stuff is a lot harder to do once you're in Croatia. So make sure to do that stuff before you leave.
Yes, and more expensive to do.
Definitely.
Well, yeah.
So when you arrive and you show up on a tourist visa, you have 24 hours to check in with the police department. Now, most hosts that are hosting you, whether it's Airbnb or someone you're staying with, are going to do that for you. And you need to make sure that they do, because if you, like us, have a host that knows nothing about that and was hosting somebody long-term for their first time, you can get fined. A misdemeanor offense in the country of Croatia if you show up and don't register the fact that you are there in the country within 24 hours. So we got charged like 300 kuna for myself, 300 kuna for Renee, and 300 kuna for our baby daughter. So it ended up being about 900 kuna in fines, and we each received a misdemeanor because our host, our Airbnb, I thought would just register us automatically, and he didn't. He had no idea about that. So luckily he did actually pay the fines for us, but I mean, we still had to deal with going to the police department several times, figuring out like what was going on and how to fix our situation. So that was a pain in the butt.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah, then
so we finally, after, like Austin said, several trips to different police stations and many Uber rides and walks and waiting and blah blah blah, we were able to pay our fine and get our 90-day visa. I'll be right back.
To get our 90-day visa started. So at that point, you know, they figure out what day you entered the country, and your 90 days of your tourist visa starts from when you first entered the country. So, yeah. So we then decided, you know, we'll wait until about a month and a half left in our tourist visa to apply for the digital nomad visa. Because as long as your application is pending, they can't kick you out or anything like that. So we even met some expats that had never heard if they were approved or not and had been in the country for 6-7 months, and they were just like, well, my visa's pending, so nobody said anything to me. So yeah, they were just, you know, hanging out and living their lives. So we figured, you know, we heard it takes a few weeks to get everything secured and set up. So we submitted our application. I made probably the most organized application they've ever seen. I put all of our documents together, our health insurance, well, that was another thing that you need to have. Health insurance, our passports, everything needs to be in PDF format. So I had to convert these images to PDFs, and I wrote a huge letter. You also have to say why you're going to be living there, which is essentially just that you're a digital nomad, just a short letter. Proof that you have a job or you have enough money. So I had 3 months of bank statements, my work contract, and all that stuff. And then our background checks, the apostilles, our birth certificates, the apostilles. I had all this, you know, set up for them in different files and numbers, and it was just extremely organized. I tried to do the best job I could at that. And yeah, so I submitted it. We waited to hear back. It took like 3 weeks, and then we found out that my application was officially pending, so we were pretty excited that was the case. And yeah, so we started looking for an apartment to live for the next year because, you know, as far as we knew, we were going to be getting approved. And then we got the bad news, as it were. They finally emailed me back and said that I was missing all these documents. I'm like, these documents are right here. Just resent them to them. You know, they had everything that they needed. And then they basically told us regarding our background checks, we needed to provide proof that the charges that we had, we were never actually charged with. And we were kind of confused. My wife and I, we haven't been in trouble with the law in a very long time.
I got a DUI over 10 years ago. So like right when I turned 21. I'm almost 32 now.
Yeah, and my criminal offenses happened when I was 17. I'm 31. So when I was doing all this research, pretty much everywhere that I read about the background check, you know, this is definitely a concern for us. We know we have something on our records. Everywhere it says that, you know, basically it's up for interpretation. The Croatian laws just in general are, which is kind of silly to me, but this particular section of the law seems like it says that you can't have anything on your record in the past year. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, great, you know, we haven't gotten in trouble in over 10, so we should be
over a decade.
We should be just fine. And the person assigned to our case asked us to provide proof that the cases were dropped. Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, they weren't. You know, we served our time. We did what we needed to do.
We even sent the person the article of the law saying, we understand that this is the article that says specifically you can't get in trouble within the last year. And the guy was like...
He interpreted it differently.
Yeah.
He said that any country or something that you've been living over the last year, if you have anything on your record, I'm not 100% sure.
But it almost seems like if we got in trouble in the U.S. 10 years ago, but lived in like Spain for the last year. As long as in Spain in the last year we didn't get in trouble, that would have been fine. So dumb.
Really dumb. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So yeah, we still haven't officially been denied, but at this point, I reached out to the different Facebook groups that I was talking to and asking people like what we should do, and it seemed like, yeah, you have something on your record, you're probably not going to get approved. Otherwise, you can hire a lawyer and try and fight the decision with MUP. And
we said deuces.
Yeah, we said bye. We're like, this isn't worth our time. Like, we've really liked Croatia a lot. It's been really great. There's some things that we were not so fond of, like the food, but among some other things. But I mean, we were really planning to set up a home base in Croatia and then travel around Europe throughout the course of the year. And we decided it wasn't worth it. So
we go to Spain. We originally were looking at Valencia to live in to begin with. So we're going on a cruise that takes off from Barcelona with our family in March. So we decided to move to Valencia.
So we bought a van.
Some
of you have seen the space gear. It's amazing.
Super cool.
And yeah, so when we decided that we were going to do that, we had to look at how are we going to make the next year work, because with the Schengen area,
which we'll make a video about,
the 90-180 rule, we are going to live 3 months in Spain. So we're going to spend the spring in Spain, in Valencia, and then we're going to have to leave the Schengen area for 3 months, and which will probably be going to the UK, maybe living in Scotland or Ireland, somewhere over there. We're really looking forward to that too. So we'll do that in the summer, and then we're going to be able to come back into the Schengen area and be able to travel wherever we want after that for the fall. So we figured might as well just do the traveling while we're living in a few different places, and that's what we decided to do. So sorry, Croatia. Things didn't work out between us.
We'll be back.
Maybe. But there's definitely some things that they need to get in order with people that apply for this digital nomad visa. It's not that new anymore. It came out at the beginning of 2021. And I mean, MUP in general, it's not the worst bureaucracy in the world, but they definitely are incredibly unorganized, and they need to figure it out.
We literally had to go to the police station 3 different times because no one knew what to do with us.
Nobody had any idea.
Because we were trying to get our 90-day visas, and they wouldn't give it to us because we hadn't checked in that 24-hour time period. And they kept telling us to go talk to all these different people. And it took, literally days and hours to finally get a fine that we had to go pay to be able to get our 90 days. So it was quite frustrating. It's also quite frustrating to get denied. Literally everywhere online says that you'll be fine as long as you've had a clean record the past year. But everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
We're super excited and blessed to be able to have this van, be able to keep traveling and keep seeing new things and continue our adventure.
We're really excited.
We're super pumped.
And
we're super ready to
get the heck out of here.
Get out of here and keep them moving.
So deuces, Croatia. If you're applying for the visa, know this about your background check. And good luck to you and your families. And
I hope this doesn't take away from people trying to do what we did. Even if you do have a little bit of history, there are always steps that you can take. We just really wanted to make the situation be aware. So people, especially that are traveling with a toddler, know, and they're not caught off guard.
Yeah, if you do have something on your record and you're planning on applying, definitely make sure you have every piece of document from that time period, and so that can help you.
Or pay the money to get it expunged.
Yeah, or something like that. So that's your other option, I guess.
All right, well, I hope our video is a little bit more fun for you. The past couple days here have been super rainy, so we haven't really
We're in the mountains now. We're in the mountains in Rajika.
To do too much videoing, but we will try to make a new video a little bit fun very soon.
So like and subscribe.
And any questions or comments you have, list them below in the comment area, and we will make sure to answer them for you and check out
what we're doing next.
What we're doing next.
All right.
Deuces.
Bye, everybody.